Hi guys, so now we are going to read chapter 3 of the Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew, Scream for Ice Cream. Let's see what happens. Chapter 3, Backpack Attack. No way, Nancy gasped. Did Deidre write your secret recipe on her website? No, Kendra answered, but she did write that I had a winning recipe. What's wrong with that? Nancy asked. Don't you see? Kendra asked. Now all of the kids in the contest will want to steal my secret recipe. Nancy shook her head. Even though she knew Kendra couldn't see her do it over the phone, they can't do that unless you tell them your recipe, she said. Besides, most of the kids we know are honest. Yeah, Kendra snorted, until they want to win a free ice cream. Click, Kendra had hung up, but Nancy wasn't worried. Tomorrow, they would all sign up for the contest. It would be so exciting that Kendra would forget about Deidre's website. Nancy reached out to scratch chocolate chip behind her floppy little ears. And May, the best ice cream win, she declared. There it is, Beth said, pointing. Is that the most awesome building you ever saw in your whole life? And just think, Nancy said, it's filled with the yummiest ice cream in the whole wide world. It was Thursday morning. Hannah had driven Nancy, Beth, and George to the Jim and Barry's ice cream factory. A huge crowd of kids stood in front of the factory, all set to sign up for ice cream flavored contest. Nancy could see a stage set up in the front of the factory. Purple, yellow, and white balloons swept over the stage in an arch. If this is just for the sign-up, Nancy said, I can't wait to see what they'll do for the contest. I'm going down the street to buy some fruits and vegetables, Hannah said. Stay here and stay together. Nancy, Bess, and George nodded. The friends all had the same rules. They could walk or ride their bikes 5 blocks from their houses as long as they were together. Anywhere farther than that, they had to be driven by a parent or Hannah. And if you get any free ice cream samples, Hannah said with a wink, save one for me. Nancy hugged Hannah goodbye, and then their 3 excited friends joined the crowd. Music blared with loudspeakers as kids from the River Heights Dance School tapped across the stage and in ice cream cone costumes. Nancy saw their friend Nadine Nordo dancing with the group. Nadine wanted to be an actress and loved being on stage, but today she was frowning as her ice cream hat began tipping over her face. Mayor Strong stood on the side of the stage. He was smiling and holding a folded piece of paper in his hand. Probably his speech, Nancy thought. Mayor Strong loves making speeches. Nadine's hat fell off as she took a bow. Then the dancers tapped off the stage. Wasn't that great? Mayor Strong asked as he walked onto the stage. He put on a pair of glasses, unfolded his speech, and began to read. You know, when I was a kid, Nancy heard George groan under her breath. Mayor Strong always talked about being a kid. We had only ice cream parlor. It sold only 2 flavors, the mayor said. Can you imagine that, kids? Is he kidding? A voice muttered. I'd do a headstand on a pyramid for just 1 flavor. Nancy turned around. Standing behind them was a boy from their class named Kevin Garcia. Kevin's parents owned the Mean Bean Health Food Store on River Street. Kevin wasn't allowed to eat sweets, so he always mooched snacks from everybody's lunchboxes. What are you doing here, Kevin? Nancy asked. You're not allowed to eat ice cream. I heard Jim and Barry are giving away free samples of ice cream, Kevin said. He leaned closer to the girls and whispered, Got any candy on you? No, Nancy said. Hey, Kevin said, Is it true that Kendra has a winning recipe for the contest? Bess and George raised their eyebrows at Nancy. She had told them that morning about Deidre and her website. Maybe, Nancy blurted. Got any gum? Kevin said. No, George said, and don't ask us again. Kevin looked disappointed. He turned around and disappeared into the crowd. Kevin must have read Deidre's website, Bess said. Nancy looked for Kendra and found her in the crowd. Everyone near Kendra was pointing at her. I guess a lot of kids read Deidre's website, Nancy said. The mayor was still giving a speech. I even remember riding my shiny red bicycle all the way to the next town for another flavor. But when I got there, also had only 2 flavors. 1 or 2 people in the audience laughed. Where are Jim and Barry? George asked. She stood on her tippy toes to see over the crowd. I don't see them yet. They're probably scooping out the free samples. Nancy said, rubbing her tummy. I hope it's not Marshmallow Martian, Bess said. She stuck her finger in her mouth and pretended to gag. Yes, Bess, Nancy said with a smile. We know how much you hate green ice cream, no matter how good it is. A voice snapped, What's wrong with Marshmallow Martian? Nancy, Bess, and George spun around. Standing behind them, this time was 4th grader Daisy Dorff and members of the Jim and Barry fan club. Daisy started the club for the summer. They met every week to taste the new Jim and Barry flavor that they picked out of the supermarket. Nothing wrong